Hi everyone, it's Phil Frost from Main Street ROI, and I want to welcome you to today's presentation called the 5 Steps to Get Your Home Inspection Business Ranking on the First Page of Google. And I want to thank the American Society of Home Inspectors for organizing this event. And we are going to get started. It is noon Eastern Time. I do have a little bit of housekeeping to get out of the way. If this is your first webinar, then I want to let you know that there is a Q&A box or a questions box. It should be in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You can type questions right into that, and I'll address those as they come in. And if it can wait, I'll push that off to the live Q&A at the end. I always recommend you turn off distractions. Definitely sign out of Facebook and email. You'll get the most out of this if you're not also trying to multitask here. And finally, I want to see who is on. So I put together a few polls just to get a better feel for who's on the line. You'll see the first question here is, are you currently working with an SEO agency? Yes or no? And then I find with these presentations there are in fact some agencies and consultants on the line. So that is also one of the options, although I don't see anyone. Oh, there we go. We do have at least 1 or 2 agencies or consultants, but the looks like 65% are not currently investing in SEO. I'm going to close that out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just 2 more questions here. What is your current or anticipated monthly SEO budget, just to get a feel for the size of your websites and SEO campaigns? Looks like we've got some quite a few over 3,000, so pretty large SEO campaigns actually across the board here. We've got a few in each of those buckets, with the majority less than 500. I'm going to close that out in 3, 2, 1. Last but not least, I want to get a feel for what other digital marketing channels are you using? Are you advertising in Google AdWords or Bing? Or maybe you're using Facebook advertising, email marketing, social media, or possibly something else. And if you are choosing other, I see about 20% are using something else. If you don't mind just typing that into the questions box there. I'm just curious to see what you are using for your marketing. All right, I will close that out in 3, 2, 1. All right, let's dive right in here. Here's what we're going to cover. Some important Google updates that you need to understand to be successful with search engine optimization. I'm going to talk about 3 old school SEO tactics you absolutely must avoid. These are tactics that used to work very well back when I got started, but now they will actually do more harm than good. 2 tactics you can use to get ranked in as little as 30 days. There are some tactics that work very quickly with SEO. However, with that said, the majority of SEO work that you do does take some time because you don't just tell Google what to do. Google has to come read your website, analyze it, and then incorporate any changes that you make into their algorithm, so that does take some time. I'll walk through the 5 rules or the 5 steps you now need to follow, and I do have a special offer at the end for all of you attendees. All right, out of respect for everyone's time, I want to tell you about who this webinar is for. We're obviously talking about getting your website to rank high in Google, so I'm going to assume you already have a website. I'll also assume that you provide top quality products and services, that you want to be recognized as the #1 provider in your area. You want to know what it takes to get ranked #1, and more importantly, that you're willing to take consistent action. We'll talk about that quite a bit in this presentation. SEO is not a set it and forget it type solution. So this is not a webinar for you if you're just looking for ways to trick Google. That's a big misconception in the SEO industry, that you're just out there trying to trick Google to get your website to rank high. That's not what SEO is about. I actually have a slide later on about how SEO is about partnering with Google. So we'll talk more about that later. And again, this is not for you if you just want to set it and forget it solution. So some people, there are some businesses out there selling the idea that you can just do some kind of one-time setup and get ranked, but that's actually not how SEO works. Now, if this is your first time joining one of our trainings, you're probably wondering, who the heck am I and why should you listen to me? Well, again, my name is Phil Frost. I'm the founder of Main Street ROI. Our business provides digital marketing services like SEO, search engine optimization, as well as online advertising and email marketing. And we also provide training. We do a lot of free training via webinars like this one today. We also provide paid trainings via video courses, as well as step-by-step guides. And to date, we've helped over 2,000 businesses with their digital marketing, and my thought leadership has been featured in Forbes, Inc., Amex, as well as Mashable. And I'm also the very proud father of these cute kids here. This is my favorite slide of the presentation. We've got Violet on the right. She's now 4 years old as of January 2nd, and she was telling everyone that we meet that she is now 4. That's my chubby son, Emmett, in the middle there. He's just over a year and a half. That's my beautiful wife, Erin, and we're in our apartment here on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. In our office, I'm actually located right now in Flatiron, Manhattan. All right, so before we get into the 5 steps, it's actually really important to understand some of the history of Google. And this will help frame everything that we talk about later. So way back in the days, if you're old enough to remember, you may remember Alta Vista. This was one of the first search engines ever. Back in the Alta Vista days, SEO was super easy. If you wanted to rank for, let's say, Home Inspector, you would just need to put Home Inspector on your web page more often than any other web page, and your page would naturally rank high. So that's basically how SEO worked. They were search engines were just looking for how many times a keyword was showing up on that page, and that would determine if that page was relevant and how well it ranked. So SEO was super easy, but unfortunately, it was also full of spam. And if you may remember doing searches, I remember this. You could do a search for literally anything like Home Inspector, and sometimes you'd see porn sites ranking on the first page, and that's because search engines were just not very sophisticated, and a lot of irrelevant pages were showing up for searches. That was, of course, before Google. Google entered the market around 1998, and their algorithm was a little bit different. They did look at what was on your page, and they still do, but they also looked at how many other websites were linking to your website. And when I say link, that just means a hyperlink. So you might see a link on a website that says click here. You click on that link, and that shoots you over to another website. So that's a link. Google looks at how many other websites are linking to your website. And if you have a lot of links, those are basically votes in your favor. Those are other websites saying, hey, this is a good website, you should go check it out. So Google counts those basically as votes. And if you have a lot of links, you will naturally rank higher than your competitors. Now, that was a pretty ingenious algorithm, and it helped wipe out a lot of the spam that was in the search results. And because of that, Google became the #1 search engine and they really haven't looked back since. And this is a really, really important point. Hope you take away from this presentation that Google's entire business depends on search ad revenue. And what I mean by that is if you do a search in Google, at the very top of the results, you will see advertisers, typically 3 or 4 advertisers right at the top of the page. When people click on those ads, businesses pay for those listings. They pay Google, and the majority of Google's revenue is actually from people clicking on those ads. So that's a little known fact. A lot of people have a misconception that nobody clicks on ads, but that's actually a huge component in Google's business model. And because of that, whenever there is spam or irrelevant search results, that threatens Google's entire business. Google needs to make sure they're showing the absolute best search results, and if they ever don't do that, if they fail to provide good search results, users will stop using Google. They'll go to some other search engine like Bing, and Google will lose a lot of revenue because people will stop using Google and stop clicking on those ads. So it's really critical to understand. That's why Google hires some of the smartest people on earth to fight spam in their search results and just continually improve their algorithm and continually make the search results the best they can possibly be. Now, with that in mind, Google has come up with some updates to their algorithm over the past several years. And if you've been following SEO, you are doing any type of research, you'll definitely come across these updates. There's the Panda update that was really targeting websites that gave what's called a bad user experience. So an example would be poor quality content, or maybe a navigation that's hard to use. Next would be the Penguin update. I already mentioned that Google looks at how many links or how many other websites are linking to your website. Well, when you think about that, you may come to the conclusion that you should just go out and maybe build some blogs for the sole purpose of having those blogs linked to your website. And that's exactly what a lot of businesses did. Even some consultants and agencies did that. And those are called these blog link networks. Google figured out those other websites only existed to have links to those other businesses, and Google released what's called the Penguin update to really make sure that those websites were not ranking because of those, quote, fake links. Next here is Google+. That's Google's social media network, basically their answer to try to compete against Facebook. And the reason I threw this in here is really just to highlight the rising importance of social media in SEO. And then finally, the Hummingbird update. This was a really, really critical update where Google now understands context and synonyms. And if you think about it, to you and me as humans, it's very easy for us to understand some of the things that we type into Google. But for Google as a computer algorithm, it's really, really quite complex. For example, if you are walking around on your mobile phone, you might type into Google search best food nearby. Now, to you and me, it's pretty obvious we want to find a restaurant that's near your physical location. But again, to a computer program, not super easy to figure that out unless you can understand context and synonyms. And that's what the Hummingbird update was all about. And it's really important that you now know Google can interpret those types of searches. And rather than looking for a page that says best food nearby, they're actually going to pull restaurants and translate that phrase and then find restaurants and show those in the search results. All right, so now that you know some of the history, you know some of those updates, it should make sense why you want to avoid these 3 old school tactics. Again, these are tactics that used to work, but now they're just going to get you into trouble. The first one here is called an over-optimized web page. And what I mean by that is trying to stuff the keyword that you want to rank for unnaturally on the page. That's an over-optimized web page. You don't want to do that. Instead, you want to write naturally. You definitely don't want to keyword stuff, so you don't want to look at a page and just try to cram the keyword you're trying to rank for on that page. And ultimately, it comes down to providing valuable information. That's what Google's trying to do. They're trying to show the best page available for any given search. So that's what you want on your web pages. You want really valuable information, and you really want to write those pages for your target prospect. Because at the end of the day, it's not about getting ranked in Google, it's about getting prospects to your website, and that will ultimately call you or schedule an appointment. You may, if you do some research, you may come across a term called keyword density. I want to warn you to not focus on keyword density. If you're thinking about keyword density, it's a very good chance that you're trying to over-optimize your web page. So you want to write naturally. Again, you want to focus on your target prospective client, write really good sales copy, and provide really good information on those pages. The next old school tactic to avoid is self-created links. This is related to that Penguin update that I just mentioned. It's important to note that you don't want to buy links. If anyone is ever trying to sell you links on their website, you don't want to go down that road. If Google catches you buying links, they just won't count those links in the algorithm, so it'll essentially be a waste of money purely for SEO. You also don't want to get links on irrelevant websites. So if your website is for home inspections, it doesn't really make sense for you to have a link from, let's say, a jewelry website. Those don't really fit together. It's pretty irrelevant. So maybe you have an aunt who's in the jewelry business, and you talk to her, and you now know that links are going to help your rankings. Now, I do want to warn you, it doesn't really make sense for you to ask your aunt to link to your home inspection website from her jewelry website, because those are not really related in any way. So that would be an irrelevant link, and that could really just do more harm than it would good. This next bullet here is about anchor text, which is a somewhat technical term. If you see the example, I'm hyperlinking home inspection. So it's got the blue color with the underline. Most people know that that is a link when you see that online. And the phrase home inspection is what's called the anchor text for that link. Google uses that anchor text to determine what that page is about after you click on that link. So if I clicked on home inspection and it went to your home page, Google will read home inspection and say, okay, well, your website is about home inspection. So that would make it a relevant website for that particular keyword. So it's a good signal to keep in mind, and that's something that Google does look at. Now, you can certainly take that too far, and businesses do take that too far, and they will go out and try to get a lot of links with the exact same anchor text to try to rank for that keyword. But that will certainly get you into trouble because of the Penguin update. That's something that Google looks for. They look for unnatural link profiles. And if you have tons of links with the same exact anchor text, that's a red flag for Google that you're doing something that's basically against their terms of service. You're trying to manipulate their search results, and that will just get you into trouble. So you don't want to buy links. You don't want to create these links yourself. You want to focus on sharing content, so publishing content on your site that other people would want to link to. That's really the name of the game. Think about what you could create on your website that other relevant websites would want to link to. Okay, the third and final old school SEO tactic you want to avoid is unnecessary SEO pages. I'm saying quote SEO web pages because these are pages that businesses will create for the sole purposes of SEO, so just trying to get a page to rank in Google. So we'll talk more about this later. You want to first do your keyword research. That's going to be one of the steps that we talk about. And you'll find a lot of keywords that are very similar. And you want to put those together and have just one page for the very similar keywords. So you're not creating a page for every single different variation of a keyword. And you don't want to create multiple pages for similar keywords. So that's what I just said. For example, there's some plurals or similar intent type keywords where it would not make sense to have different pages. And the two example keywords here are home inspection in NYC versus NYC home inspection. The person searching both of those keywords is looking for the exact same thing. And Google knows that person is looking for the exact same thing. So it makes sense that for both of those searches, you would really only need one page. So that's what I mean. You create one page for very similar keywords. Now, what can happen if you don't follow that instructions, don't follow those instructions, you could end up with one of these notifications, which one of our clients got this notification because before working with us, they had set up a lot of different pages on their site that were almost identical, but they were targeting different geographic locations. For example, they were not in New York, but you could have, let's say, for our website, we could have Brooklyn.mainstreetroi.com, Bronx.mainstreetroi.com, and Manhattan.mainstreetroi.com. So those are different websites, different web pages trying to target different locations. In some cases, that can make sense for your business, but for this particular client, they were using almost the exact same copy on every single page, and that's a big no-no because you will definitely get a notification like this where Google says Google has detected thin content on your site that provides little or no added value. This critical issue results in irrelevant or low-value search results for Google search users and can negatively impact your site's rankings. And Google has applied a manual spam action. So when Google sees that you have unnecessary web pages on your site that are not providing a lot of value, they'll actually issue one of these called manual spam actions, and you'll have to most likely just take those pages down, or you'll have to make those pages more valuable with unique content. All right, before we move on, I want to give you 3 SEO predictions. This one's a pretty safe prediction. Google's going to continue to fight SEO spam. Again, that's because any spam threatens Google's entire business. They're going to continue to look for keyword stuffing. Don't worry about keyword density. Write naturally. They're going to continue to look for unnatural inbound links. So don't focus on creating links to your site. Focus on ways that people will naturally link to you, and definitely don't create unnecessary pages for similar keywords. If you're not aware of this, you definitely need to be. Mobile and local signals are rising in importance. That's because more people are actually going to Google on their mobile phones. That's a pretty significant shift in the online landscape. Mobile is just becoming more and more important. With that in mind, in the very near future, Google is moving to what's called a mobile-first index. All that means is instead of Google looking at your desktop website and using that as kind of the home base, they're going to start using your mobile website as the home base. And what I mean by home base, they're going to look at that first to determine if your website should rank high in the search results. So that's a huge shift that's supposed to happen in Q1 2017. And social signals will become more important. That's as the more and more data is collected, more people are using social media. It's hard to ignore that. I do expect Google will start to incorporate more of those signals in their algorithm. And I hinted at this earlier. This is a key takeaway that SEO is not about tricking Google. It's about partnering with Google. So how can you structure your website? How can you make your website more valuable for Google, for Google's users ultimately? And keep in mind that those users are your prospective clients. So basically help Google show your website to your prospective clients. And lastly, what would Wayne do? It's a great quote from Wayne Gretzky. A good hockey player plays where the puck is. A great hockey player plays where the puck is going to be. I love that quote. It's so true with the SEO industry. With things evolving so quickly, you really need to be focused on where SEO is headed. That's why I wanted to give you a good foundation in terms of where SEO has been, the history of SEO, as well as some of the pretty safe predictions as far as where SEO is headed. All right, now let's dive into the 5 steps or the 5 rules. And I call these the 5 R's to make it easy to remember. And the first one is research. And by research, I mean keyword research. And there's a free tool online. You can use Google's Keyword Planner tool. If you just go to Google and search Keyword Planner tool, it'll be the first result. And you'll have to have a Google AdWords account to use it. But you don't have to spend any money. You can still use the tool. It's basically like a thesaurus. You'll type in some of the keywords you think your prospective clients are typing into Google. Then you click Show Me the Ideas or Search. I forget what the button says. Google will then show you how many times those keywords are searched every month. And then it will also show you additional relevant keywords. And that's why it's like a thesaurus. You'll get additional ideas that you may not have thought of. So you want to obviously focus on keywords that have what we call search volume. That just means they're searched. If the search volume is 0, not either no one's searching that keyword or very few, it's not being detected by the tool. So that's not going to be a good keyword if no one's searching it. And you also want to focus on what's called buying intent. There's really 2 types of keywords out there. There's buying intent and there's research intent. And I give 2 examples here. Home inspection company in NYC versus is a home inspection required in NYC? So which one has more buying intent? And hopefully it's clear with that example that home inspection company in NYC has much more buying intent than is a home inspection required in NYC. Both of them, when you look at those keywords, they're both relevant for a home inspection company, and a home inspection company prospect would certainly search both of those keywords. So it's easy to think, okay, those are both good keywords. But you really need to take that extra step and think about, is this a buying intent keyword or a research intent keyword? Because if it's research intent, that means more people that are searching that keyword are just doing research and they're not really looking to hire a company. So ranking #1 for is a home inspection required in NYC is not going to be as valuable. It's not going to translate to, let me put it a different way, not as many of those searchers are going to convert into actual paying clients for your business versus ranking for home inspection company in NYC. And then I mentioned this earlier, you want to group your similar keywords together. So similar by phrase. So it should be pretty obvious when you do your keyword research. There'll be a lot of different variations of basically the same phrase, and you want to group those together because you just want to have one page for those similar keywords. And lastly, you want to answer this question: do you really deserve to be #1 for that particular keyword? So do you really provide the best information on that particular topic? Do you actually provide that product or that service? If you don't, it's really an uphill battle, and you're basically getting into the realm of you're trying to trick Google at that point. All right, the second R is relevance. And more specifically, we're talking about website relevance. And in terms of marketing, this is really marketing 101. We're going to match the message on the web page to what the market is searching for. So again, I'm hammering this point. You want to pick one page per target keyword or similar phrases. By picking that one page, by going through that process, you may find that you don't even have a page on your site for some of the relevant keywords that people are searching for. That's actually very common when we start working with a new client. We will do the keyword research and we'll find that they don't have a page, even though a lot of people are searching a particular keyword. And in that case, you need to create a brand new page to target that keyword or those target keywords. And then when it comes to making your website relevant, you need to edit what's called the title of the page. And in HTML, I put the code there. You can see the less than sign, title greater than sign. That's the HTML code. If you're not familiar with HTML code, don't worry too much about it. Your web developer can easily edit the titles of your pages. You want to edit the headers on individual pages, and ideally the title will include your target keyword for that particular page, and then your headers, the H1, H2, H3, those are different headlines on the page that kind of break up the page into different sections. Those you want to incorporate some of the different variations of your target keyword. And then finally, you want to write naturally in the body copy. If you've picked one page on your site to target a handful of very similar keywords, the copy on that page will naturally incorporate that keyword. So again, you're not worrying about keyword density. You're not even worrying about, hey, am I writing copy that's good for Google? You're worrying about, am I writing really good sales copy for my prospective clients? That's what you want to focus on with your body copy. But from an SEO perspective, you want to make sure the titles of the pages are incorporating your target keywords, and the headers are incorporating different variations of your target keywords. And the last thing I'll say about relevance is what I call the golden rule of relevance. You want to keep this in mind. Create the web page that you yourself would want to find if you were the one searching for that particular keyword. I think that's a good rule of thumb. Ultimately, that's what Google is trying to do. They're trying to show the absolute best web page for every single search. All right, the third R is what's called reputation, or website reputation. And when you talk about your online reputation, there's a term called domain authority. Again, if you've done research in SEO, you'll come across tools that measure domain authority. That's ultimately measuring this online reputation. And when you think about your real-world reputation, a lot of times that comes down to who you hang out with. So what are the reputations of the people that you hang out with? And that's reputation by association. And that's why, it's a similar process online. That's why Google looks at the other websites that are linking to you. And Google looks at the reputation or domain authority of those websites that are linking to you. And that's reputation by association. So if you are getting links from other high domain authority websites, so you're hanging out online with reputable websites, that will rub off on your website, and in turn, Google will start to think of your website as a trusted website with a high domain authority. Now, the inverse of that is also true, so you do need to be careful about who you hang out with. Same is true in the real world. If you hang out with some shady characters, then you will have a shady reputation by association. And online, if you're linking to and getting links from websites that are not totally legit and are possibly irrelevant to your industry, then that's going to give you a bad domain authority or a bad reputation. And this, again, the biggest factor is the quantity and quality of links, but you do want to focus on attracting those links versus buying or creating them yourself. All right, before I get to the last two R's, 4 and 5, I do want to go through those two tactics that I promised you. So those are the tactics that ranked in 30 days or less. And now that you know those first 3 steps, these will make a lot more sense. You'll actually understand why these work. The first one here is piggyback SEO. And what you're going to do is piggyback on websites that already have a high authority or high domain authority. And you're going to publish content, for example, an article. You can publish an article on a website that already has a high domain authority and put your target keyword as the title of that article. And you already know that by making the title, by editing the title and putting your keyword in there, that makes it extremely relevant. And since you're already publishing on a site that has a good reputation, you've taken care of the 3 steps that I already talked about, so that you have a very good chance of ranking high if you follow those steps. And here is an example. This is an article that I published myself on another website called kissmetrics.com, and it's called How to Create a Profitable Google AdWords Campaign from Scratch. And you can see it's ranking number 3, at least when I took the screenshot. And the search here is how to create a Google AdWords campaign, and that matches perfectly, or almost perfectly, with the title of the article. And that's why it's ranking high. It's a highly relevant article for that keyword, so it's got a lot of relevance, and it's already on a domain, kissmetrics.com, that has a high domain authority. So it's got all the bases covered. Google sees that. It's a highly relevant web page on a respected website that has a high reputation, and that's why it ranks high. But that, not just for that keyword, here's just another example of a variation, just typing in Google AdWords campaign. And you can see, again, that keyword phrase is in the title, Google AdWords campaign. So it's a highly relevant article, and it's on a domain that has a high domain authority. So it ranks really high. You can see it's ranked number 3, just under 2 Google.com articles. So that's the first tactic. And the second tactic is called local SEO. And this is a really, really important tactic for businesses looking for local customers or clients, like a home inspection business. And that's because Google is now showing on the very first page, when Google knows that the person is looking for a business, Google will likely show a map on the very first page of Google's search results, and then underneath that map, the business information, and in the map it shows the location of those businesses. So that is something that Google started doing not too long ago to really highlight local businesses, because Google figured out that's actually what people want to see when they're doing certain searches, like home inspection company in NYC will likely show the nearby home inspection companies, or home inspection company in Syosset, New York, which is in Long Island, will likely show the home inspection companies near that particular location. That's because through testing, Google figured out, a lot of these searches are for local businesses. 20%, 40% of mobile searches are for local, and then 97% of consumers search for local businesses. So it's a huge trend. You'll be happy to know that the steps are very similar. You need to do your keyword research, then you need to make your Google My Business profile. That is a slight variation, because Google is actually ranking Google My Business profiles instead of websites. So you need to create a Google My Business profile. Then you want to build up the reputation of your Google My Business profile. And the way you do that is getting online reviews and getting what are called citations. And a citation is just a mention of your business name, address, and phone number. That's something that Google looks at. They can look on your Google My Business profile, and then they'll scour the internet for other mentions of your business, so your name, address, and phone number. And if it's consistent across the internet, that gives Google confidence to show your business higher in the search results. And here's actually an example from one of our clients. You can see home inspector, Pembroke Pines, same day inspection. So this is what I mean. You do a search. Google thinks that the person searching is looking for a local business, and that's why you can see on the very first page they show a map, and then they show the local businesses that are in the map. Here's another example here from Barney, just to show you that this does work very quickly. He wrote to us and said, about a month ago, I started going through the local SEO steps. I've noticed my Google rankings moving up, and right now I'm at the #1 position for my most important keyword in my area. I'm now receiving phone calls for my listing, and I just started working on a project that came in directly from Google Plus Local. All right, so what have we learned so far? We covered the 3 R's, the first 3. I went through 2 tactics to get ranked in 30 days or less. And the next R is my favorite R. It's revenue. I mentioned this earlier. The #1 goal is not to rank high in Google. It's to actually generate revenue. So the whole point of this is to get your business in front of prospective clients and then have them go to your website and ultimately call you or complete a form on your website. It's really, that comes down to 3 factors. You need compelling website copy. That's why I emphasized when you're writing the copy on your site, focus on your prospective client, not Google. You want to make sure you have social proof, so lots of testimonials. You know, if you get reviews on your Google My Business profile, you could put those on your website as credibility indicators. And then you want to make sure you have some kind of call to action. So if you want people to be calling you, you need to actually explicitly write that on your web pages and have that phone number front and center. Now the second criteria here, or second factor, is having what's called a lead magnet. And this is really important because the vast majority of traffic to websites is not ready to purchase right away. They're not ready to make that buying decision. They're not even ready to call you. So they might be searching a buying intent keyword, but they're going to do a little bit more of their homework online before reaching out to you. But if you have some kind of lead magnet, and that could be a free report about maybe the mistakes to avoid before hiring a home inspection company. So that would be something I just made up. You might want to think more about what you should use, but that could be on your website. That would be compelling for someone who's considering hiring a home inspection company, and they might give you their email address in exchange for that report. That's called a lead magnet because it attracts leads, and then you have their email address to follow up with them after they get that report. And then lastly, the third factor is that the keywords that you're ranking for are actually for buying intent keywords. So that's obviously critical. That goes back to step 1. So if you don't get that first step right, you can do a lot of work ranking for keywords that don't really drive business, don't drive revenue for your business. And then you want to obviously be tracking your return on investment. And to do that, I recommend you install Google Analytics. That's a free program. You can get that installed on your website pretty quickly. And then you can set up what are called goals or conversions in Google Analytics to see how many leads and how many new maybe appointments and ultimately how many clients you're generating from your SEO activity. And the final R is responsibility. So ultimately the question is, who is responsible for your SEO? Is it you yourself? Do you have someone on your team and you're doing it in-house, or are you hiring a consultant or an agency? And just remember that SEO is not a set it and forget it strategy. It does take ongoing work. And I highly recommend you only delegate this after you understand the basics of SEO. And that was really my goal here today, to bring you up to speed on the basics of SEO, so you see how far SEO has come, and obviously some of the mistakes that you want to avoid, and then where SEO is headed so that you can stay competitive. Now, I guarantee there will be some Google updates in 2017. There were a ton in 2016. And a lot of people get scared about Google updates, but you really want to switch that mindset. You want to think of Google updates as opportunities, because if you're following best practices like what I just walked through today, you will actually move up in the rankings when Google makes an update. And that's because Google's targeting the businesses that are not following best practices, and they're moving those guys down in the rankings, and that opens up spots for you to jump up to the first page. I promised a special offer, and I'll quickly go through that before we get to Q&A. And for all the attendees, I do have a special SEO bundle. It's going to be 2 step-by-step 90-minute video training courses First one is the complete SEO tune-up. You can go to our site and see that we sell that for $97. And we're also going to include the local SEO formula, which again, we sell on our site for $97. And it also includes an SEO audit where our SEO analysts will go through the audit process that we do for all of our new clients. And it includes a 30-minute consultation to walk through that audit and obviously answer any questions that you have about it. And we sell that on our site for $300. So that's a total value of $494 that you can actually get for only $97 since you attended today. To claim the SEO bundle, you can go to mainstreetroi.com/SEO-bundle. And with that, if you're not interested in training, so that's really geared toward businesses looking to learn more with training. If you're not looking for training, I totally understand. And I want to give you a gift as well, so you can get a free SEO consultation. And to do that, I'm just going to show the last poll you will see today with the simple question, do you want a free SEO consultation? Just two answers there, yes and no. Okay, I see answers are rolling in here, so let me just give it a few more seconds. All right, looks like it's, oh, I thought it was slowing down, now it's speeding up. Looks like 75% have voted. I'll close it down in 3, 2, 1. All right, we got 80% who voted. It's pretty good. I won't read this. That's just a testimonial, what our clients say about our services. You can read this. We will be sending out the replay. We typically get that out within 24 hours, and the replay will include the slides as well. All right, so we've got some questions. And I do have a call in 8 minutes, so I will stay on for roughly 5 minutes here for Q&A. So if you have any questions, again, just type those into the questions box. And let me pull that up now. Dave said, if everyone is trying to get the top listing, how can anyone but the top 3 to 5 do it? So it is true. Everyone is obviously trying to rank #1, and there are only 10 organic listing spots. So when you think about it, it's extremely competitive. And when you do a search for a particular keyword, Google tells you how many other relevant websites there are, and there's typically millions. But if you follow the best practices and actually make your site the most relevant, the most useful, and you start improving your reputation or domain authority, you will naturally move up in the rankings. And in my experience, there's still a lot of websites that are what I call poorly optimized. So there's still a lot of opportunity to rank high in the search results, just because still businesses are not taking advantage of this opportunity, especially with the local SEO opportunity, getting your Google My Business listing to rank high, and that's a great opportunity for home inspectors. Michael said, for the address, does it have to be a specific address like 123 Main Street, or will a city, state address work? You do need to have an actual address, and Google will verify that address. They'll either call you or send something via mail. Now, if you don't want anyone coming to your actual address and you don't want that to be displayed online, there is an option to say that customers do not come to my office. I go to my customers, in which case you check that box, and then Google does not display your address, but you still have to input your address. Victor said, will there be a recording? Yes. Let me just confirm I recorded it. Yes, it's recording, and we're going to get that out. We should have it out in the next 24 hours. Jason, good question. Is Google Plus different from Google My Business? Google My Business used to be Google Maps or Google Places, and then it turned into Google Plus Local, and then it turned into Google My Business. There might have even been a name in between those. It's the same exact thing. It's just Google has been rebranding over the past, I'd say about 5 years. They've been rebranding it. So Google Plus Local is the same as Google My Business. Jason said, do reviews on Google Plus or Google My Business rank higher than reviews on other sites? Short answer is you want to get reviews on several different business profiles or business directories. However, my recommendation is get your Google My Business profile set up and focus on getting up to 10 reviews on that Google My Business profile. Once you've surpassed 10, then start worrying about some of the other profiles online. The caveat there would be if you have a listing that's already set up, and I saw some people did, like Jim is set up in Home Advisor, Dave is set up in Angie's List. So if you're already set up in another site and you know you're getting leads there, then I would focus there and really build up your reviews on those sites, and then circle back and start building up reviews on Google My Business. Stephen asked, with generating links, is it really all about creating content and hoping it happens naturally? Absolutely not. It's not, if you build it, they will come. There's different tactics you can use. So you can, one is called competitor link research. You can actually, there are tools out there where you can research where your competitors are getting links and reverse engineer how they did that. And you're going to find lots of different links that they received, and you can figure out different ideas for getting similar links. Another tactic I'll give you is what's called content marketing. So you might create a really good step-by-step guide to home inspections, and then you can then market that content by doing research and finding relevant websites that would want to link to that article, and then you have to contact those websites, those website owners, those business owners, and then see if they'll in fact link to that article. So you can proactively get links that way. All right, I think we've got time for one more. Let me see here. Here's actually a good one. Best way to remove duplicate or old addresses in Google. Definitely reach out to Google. So if you have an established Google My Business profile and it's verified, you want to log into that one, and then reach out to Google's support. They have a support phone number and even I think a contact form. Reach out to them and highlight the duplicates or the old addresses and work with them directly to get those removed. All right, everyone, I do have a hard stop here, so I need to close it down. Please complete the survey at the very end. I'm going to close this out, and you'll get redirected automatically to a survey. I really appreciate your feedback. And again, if you're interested in the SEO bundle, it's mainstreetroi.com/SEO-bundle. All right, everyone. enjoy the rest of your week and have a great weekend. Take care.